causes of frustration. What do you think are some of the causes of frustration? Third, the third element, or the thing that we need to look again, is reactions to frustration. Reaction to frustration. How do we tend to react? And then lastly, solutions to frustration. These are the key areas that are so much important for us to be able to look at so that we can get oriented on what we need to undertake. Now, I will ask you to share with me some of the causes of frustration. Maybe first of all, Jensera, can you tell us what frustration is? What is frustration? What is frustration? What is frustration, Jen? Sarah?
Hello.
Yes.
I would say frustration is like the feeling of being annoyed or as a result of being unable to change something or achieve something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not being able to achieve one's objective. Caroline, let's have an input. That's a good trial. That's a good attempt. Very good attempt. Caroline. What do you think? Let's hear your part on frustration. What says you? So it's one can say when one is unable to achieve something, or they are able to get to what they have set out to do. Like we're trying to connect to this online conference in vain for almost an hour. We have been struggling to find avenues for connection. It was really frustrating. There's this other alternative web conferencing by Kenneth Web Conference. It's a little bit cumbersome to connect to compared to the or the BBBB. So you need password, you need to share the link, you fail to get it right, it doesn't get along and all that. So very frustrating. So when you are not able to achieve something or to do something, you get frustrated. What else can we say about Caroline? Amma, you have written. You still have scratches. Why?
Yes, I can't hear you clearly, honestly.
Can't hear me.
Yes, I hear you, then there are scratches, then I can't hear you. I don't know if it's on my side or Jensera, can you hear scratches? I don't know if it's me.
On my part,
Hello.
Do you hear scratches?
Like it's not that consistent. Kidogo tu.
Mi yangu hata sisikii kitu.
Juu nasikia vizuri isipopane sometimes.
Yes, sometimes I hear, sometimes I don't. Let me log out, then log in.
Caroline, you have come like you are speaking here live.
Huh?
On my part, I hear you.
On my
like
part, I can't hear you.
Oh.
I'm hearing you, but there at some point there are scratches where I can't hear you.
Oh, I wonder what. Let's try to wait and see what will happen. If it's too bad, we look for alternatives. Okay?
Okay, please.
Yeah, if it's too bad, we can connect to Google, but project through this. Now, there are some learning activities. I was asking us about what frustration is. It's when one is not able to achieve whatever they have set out to do, or when one experiences an annoying or annoyance, especially with the scratches and the sounds that are not coming out clearly. They can cause frustration. And of course, any acts that prevent success of something or an activity you are trying. There are some things or some acts or some objects that try to hinder your activities. So all this leads to frustration and make people get to a point where they don't feel really wanting to continue with that process. So that's the same by frustration. So what do you think are some of the causes of frustration? Maybe let's get input and hear one causes of frustration. As you are thinking about it, there are these activities that are projected there. Of course, I've uploaded some notes for you to read. And what you did in research, those who did this topic, and some of us who took notes in class, we can be able to orientate ourselves. Now, what are the causes? That is what we're asking. And what are some of the reactions? Those are the activities that I'm going to post them on the portal for your action. Now, what are some of the causes? Just one from each one of us. Just one each, and we look at the rest.
Pressure from work.
Yeah, pressure from work, right? Jensera, what are the causes of frustration?
Lack of recognition.
Yeah, lack of recognition. When one is not acknowledged for what good they have done, sometimes it becomes frustrating and people tend not to be happy about what gets on or what goes on. Any other source that we can, any other cause, not source, any other cause of frustration? In life, in general life, you have pressure from work, yes, lack of recognition, or you achieve something and no one take notice of it. What do you think? Inadequate resources. Inadequate resources. On our notes, you'll find that there is the first statement indicated there, unlimited resources. It is supposed to be limited resources, okay? Let me do that projection so that we can make that correction on our notes. Yes, poor working condition. Yes, when the working condition is not as good as we expect, it can be very frustrating. Yeah, that is true. So these are causes of frustration. Now, if you check from your notes uploaded on the portal, there was a slight mistake there on that first point. It was reading unlimited resources. Now, the right thing is limited resources. Limited is inadequate resources. So the best thing we can use, the best word for us to use is inadequate resources. That can be frustrating because you want to achieve your objective, but you realize that you are not able to do it because so something is lacking. So when resources are not enough or are limited or are not available, work performance becomes a challenge. It becomes so frustrating because what you need, let's say, for example, you are in a restaurant and you need an ingredient and you realize that it is not there, then you are not able to achieve your objective of preparing a particular dish that you really wanted to prepare. So you realize that you are not able to achieve your objective of the work you're doing. There's another one project there called unclear relationship. That is where employees do not know who to report to. For example, you find that more than one manager wants to give you orders or want to allocate duties to you. Sometimes it becomes challenging because you are doing this role, performing that role assigned by your supervisor, and someone else comes and also wants to assign you roles. Then it makes it really, really frustrating because of the expectations of one of the principles of management is requires that there should only one manager, one supervisor. An employee should be reporting to one particular supervisor. Another problem is unclear communication. This results when employees find it hard to understand what is expected of them because communication doesn't come out clearly or does not give the right direction to the work performance. So you find that, is it this to be done or is it that? So in that case, you realize that work effort becomes a challenge. The fourth one that we need to look at is the fourth cause of frustration is the differences in goals. Differences in goals is one of the major challenges because one person's goal may not be the same as another person's goals. So you find that if you have your objectives, you have your targets you need to fulfill, then someone else, maybe your supervisor, for example, or maybe other employees, for example, have got a different goals and you need to work together. So you find that you'll be colliding most of the time. Like, for example, there are team activities, activities that are to be done by a number of people who require to work as a team. You find that if team members are not cohesive or are not working in one accord, you find that blending that team becomes a challenge. We also talk about organizational climate. This is what one of you said is working condition. That is work environment, and that is someone has talked about it. It's the same as working condition. Especially if it's frustrating, if it is a challenge, it is not really employee friendly, it becomes a problem. Then personal background. This is, for example, what happens at home. What happens at home or in society or within people's cultures, the way they perceive things can affect people's work, can affect people how they rate or they give their, they perform their responsibilities at workplace. We find that the effects, things that happen at home sometimes can reflect at the workplace in a negative way. Now, lack of goal harmony is the same as goal differences. So we can connect those two. Goal difference and lack of goal harmony is the same thing. So we can, you see that one highlighted in yellow is the same thing that we need to say about. Then, of course, poor staffing. Poor staffing means that so much work with very few employees. It means that you find that sometimes members of staff have to do that activities, or they have to take roles that are done by other members. On a different note, also, you realize employers bring in people with poor qualification, so it leads to poor work being done. Like most technical jobs or technical activities, like in hospitality industry, it's more technical because you have to use your skills to produce an outcome. So you find that if you don't have somebody who is skillful or talented, you might find the outcome of the work being very poor, or the quality of work becomes a challenge, and then that can be frustrating. Now, this is an employer's policy, especially policy that regards an employee. What are the policies that govern the employer-employee relationship? Sometimes such policies may be bent on curtailing the growth of employees, and it becomes frustrating to the members of that organization. Or maybe the employer sets targets that are impractical, or frustrate the activities of the employees, or try various ways to victimize, or any slightest mistake is used against the employee, or any perceived wrongdoing is punished without mercy, can frustrate employees. Lack of procedures for motivation and of providing incentives. Like this is more or less like recognition, for example. You find that employees, they do a wonderful job, no one takes notice of that. There is there are no incentives to encourage them. Then there are no incentives to or to boost the morale of the employees. So you find that employees feel that their work are not taken seriously, or their efforts are taken for granted. Can be frustrating. Role and status that are inconsistent with what one is doing. For example, you employ an accountant and you start giving them duties of an administrator. You employ them to reconcile books, to do all those accounting stuff, and then you start you give them or allocate them duties that are supposed to be done by the office messenger, to clean here, prepare tea, deliver this, or you give them a duty that is for a personal assistant, or you allocate them duties that are completely unrelated to the work, like go and pick my child from school, go and pay, deposit this money for me in my bank account, go and pick this item from this shop. No, it becomes exceedingly frustrating when somebody is allocated duties that are not related to the work they're supposed to do, the work they were employed to perform. Overwork. This is one very frustrating thing that organizations sometimes expose their employees, especially in the hospitality industry. During the pre-COVID time, or those days when hospitality was at its peak, sometimes you find their patrons in a particular outlet. There's a stream of them, then the staff members are very few, especially the service, customer service people, the food and beverage service, the waiters. You find that they have shifts, and that the shifts are so busy. Like this one outlet in Nairobi, which is very popular, and they even host weddings and what have you. Safari Park, very popular with foreigners and locals. You find that you get there, it is work from the very moment you report to the very moment you check out, and then there are shifts. So shift from early morning, from the afternoon, and to the late night. So you find that too much work. This one we had also identified lack of recognition. Good. So those are some of the sources or causes of frustration. There are still more of them. There's just a few of them that we are able to identify. Now, how do we handle frustration at work? How do we handle frustration? Let's hear your suggestions. Who's going to start? How do we handle frustration? How do we deal with frustration? Yes, how do we deal with frustration? Caroline, let's test your mic again, whether it's now okay.
You are now unmuted.
We deal with frustration. Hello?
Yes. Go
You
on.
can hear me?
Very clear.
Okay. We can deal with frustration by maybe recognizing our staff, like this, what do we call them? Employee of the Month award or of the Year award.
Yes, Jensera, what can we say about frustration? How do we handle it?
You can deal with it by the management can provide enough resources for the employees.
Provision of adequate resources, huh? How are you?
I want to give another point. Like we can also give challenging one to prevent boredom of the employees.
Or to reduce the boredom of employees. Good. Let's see what we have for how to handle frustration. You can be able to look at a few, submit on them, like for example, offering and development. Now, let's deal with frustration. Now, when you train and improve your employee skills, for example, they find it much more easier to perform the roles that they have been assigned. They become better and better, and this allows them to be able to provide professional content. And in most cases, in hospitality, for example, during the low season, most facilities would offer their employees refresher courses, and those courses are meant to help them improve on their skills so that they can be able to deliver. There's this college, Kenya Utalii College, established by the Act of Parliament, actually is the establishment that the government of Kenya put in place to train employees or to train staff in the hospitality industry. It's actually a collaboration between the Swiss government and the government of Kenya. And through the Act of Parliament, it established that. And for all the facilities that operate, that is hotel and tourism, there was a levy that is being charged. And initially, all that money was delivered to Kenya Utalii College. Today, I think it has changed a little bit. So initially, the best trainers for staff in the hospitality industry was from there. But of course, there are many colleges today that do the same, and they reach the standards of the world standard. But what I want to say that is many facilities in Kenya, or sometimes even outside of Kenya, would recommend their employees to take refresher courses, and these are meant to improve on their skills. Now that deals with frustration. Therefore, benefits are able to work effectively and efficiently at workplace. Another thing that we can say about is involving employees in decision making, whereby they take part. They are given that opportunity to. They are notified of new development, new things that come to the organization, so that they are part of it. To just wake up and find that a new policy is in place and they do not know about it, they do not know how it will affect them. Then, of course, rewarding strong performance, those who do a better job need to be rewarded. In that way, you find more effect. That is very important. effective communication can be a key way of dealing with frustration. Another important one is defining employees' role so that they know exactly what they are supposed to do in that organization. Don't just employ people, but they don't know what their role is. So they must know exactly what are they coming to do in that organization. If no role is defined, then anything goes. Can be allocated duty here, sweep the floor, take tea, prepare tea for the boss, perform personal assistance job, do this, do that. So defined roles are important. It handles frustration very well. And then being proactive, what does this mean? This is like bombarding your team with news that you remember today. You report in the morning, you were told your supervisor is gone and it's a new person in charge, surprising your team members or your employees with new things that are just done haphazardly without prior knowledge or prior warning. So in many cases, such kind of abrupt changes and planned changes, they tend to make people frustrated. You don't know what will come out tomorrow. You find that employees do not know whether they shall keep their jobs, that tomorrow, are we safe? Are we secure? Do we have job security? Like an organization that conducts summary dismissal, for example, you find that tomorrow you come to work, you are told there is no job, there is no vacancy, whatever. So it can be frustrating. So being proactive means that things need to be communicated in time. There should be procedures for handling any issue that might affect employees or employers. And should there be a need for dismissal or need for termination, there must be a clear procedure that indicates or give employees good reasons for, in case a termination may be necessary. Another thing is involving employees, especially when important issues that pertains to the work are concerned, involving them in decision making, just like or allowing them to participate in a way that will encourage that they are part of the activities of the organization. We can also talk about keeping the line of communication open, whereby employees can actually are free to express their mind, their opinion, or their feelings about the work-related issues. Then, of course, another thing is look at a way of handling frustration by maybe coming up with mechanisms to reduce negative energy or to ensure that employees' morale is boosted. So sometimes involve employees in activities that are not related to work, like team building, like sports activity, like encouraging formation of formal groups and such like, so that it can relieve them of the pressure of the challenging work environment. Talk about performance management programs, for example, encourage more employees to set a benchmark or to set targets or come up with performance objectives. So especially in formation of personal goals, they need to set goals, set targets, align those targets with organization targets, and you can evaluate themselves and also have a performance evaluation by the supervisors and by the departments or by the overall management, so that from this performance objective, employees can determine what thing they are digressing. So talk about empowerment, where a way of like delegating some work, some time, giving employees some roles to play, some responsibilities to play. Like when there are events in an organization, it is important at one point to choose one to moderate that event, encourage them to participate here and there. When things like normally when it happens in the that some of the like given roles like moderating a meeting, being an MC, you find that this gives them opportunity to express themselves and to exercise leadership potential and working with people. So some of such role might work towards empowering employees to do certain activities. So it's not just about work, meet your target, produce, perform your role, perform this, perform that. When opportunity arises, you can also bring in your employees to be able to have those opportunities to grow. And of course, very important, ensure there is adequate resources, financial equipment, materials to make the work efficient. This one is the one we started with training. It's just an addition. Good. Now, I want you to discuss this area. Open your mic so that you can discuss the two of them. Amazing. We started. What's the consequences of frustration? Consequences of frustration. What are some of the consequences of frustration? So let's hear your discussion. What are the consequences of frustration? You can unmute and talk to one another, okay?
Hello, Natian.
Yeah.
Unanisikia? Classmate. Our causes of frustration. Kuna one of them is low productivity.
High inaitwanga high turnover, high staff turnover.
Yeah, high labor turnover.
Okay. Demotivation. staff are not motivated to do work.
Eka sawa. Natia.
Ah?
Nilikuwa mtoto analia pole.
Sisikii kenye unasema. Nasikia
Nasema
scratchy. Eh.
alikuwa analia. So umesema point zako mbili gani?
Nimesema motivation, like staff are not motivated to do their jobs well, so they are demotivated. Na nikasema it leads to high staff turnover.
Oh yeah.
Like many people leave the organization. Alafu ukasema it leads to low profitability.
Nilisema low productivity.
Oh, productivity. Shoddy job, like staff will end up doing a shoddy work. Tunasema ni poor job performance ama ni
Sasa itakuwa tu ni kama low productivity. Ita lead to it. Yeah. Nika your point tu.
aje?
Like anasema yeye ni unasema should the job, should the work, tukaa hiyo like hiyo sasa itaonekana due to like low productivity.
Oh, sure. It's just one of the same point.
Yes.
Na ingine inaitwaje?
Gani hiyo?
Ingine inaitwaje?
Nieleze tusikie.
Can't we say it leads to low profitability?
Somehow inakaa correct. Alafu can you say like it can cause stress and depression, like when one is frustrated inaweza lead to stress and depression pia, cause hizo zote tunaangalia ni za organization na individual.
Alafu pia tunaweza sema it will lead to conflict in the organization, like many people watu watakuwa na argue because everybody is just frustrated, so it will lead to conflict.
Yes.
Hi. How about your discussion? Some of the consequences of frustration may include poor performance, high rate of labor turnover, increase in accidents and injuries, mistakes and errors, high rate of absenteeism, excessive complaints and grievances, antagonism towards organization and its management, resistance to change. All those ways in which frustration can affect organizations' performance. Now, defense mechanisms that sometimes are used by people in dealing with frustration. Defense mechanisms that are normally used by people in dealing with frustration. Some of those defense mechanisms are we together? Some of those defense mechanisms that people actually employ to help deal with frustrating situations include like denial. Sometimes one may be in denial when they are in a frustrating situation. They can be in a position of denying that the situation ever existed. Like maybe one has got or maybe is affected or is as a terminal illness. The first realization that they have terminal illness is normally first of all affect a person with the issue of denial, denying that actually is the reality. So denial is a situation or a fact which becomes too much for a person to handle, and one may simply believe or simply refuse to experience it. In other words, somebody tries to deny the reality. Like let's say, for example, there's a failure in exam. Maybe one takes an exam, and very important exam, and then they fail it. Then they fail to get what the exam was meant to lead them to achieve. But then now they try to wish away the fact that they are not able to attain their goal or the unpleasant consequences of failing the exam. They don't want to take it in and believe that it is the reality. They try to deny that they ever failed that exam or that the exam never existed. So in most cases, denial helps people in protecting themselves against the reality of the unpleasant consequence. The reality of the unpleasant consequence. Are we together? I don't know whether I'm getting me. Just write there. Yes, I need to know whether I'm talking to people who are there. Another way of dealing with frustration Another way of dealing with frustration is it's repression. Repression is where one refuses to accept the reality. One refuses to accept the reality of the negative situation. One refuses to accept the reality of the negative situation. So in many cases, is trying to repress or to refuse that this kind of a situation is not actually existing. So it's kind of repressing the negative aspect of the event that frustrates the person. So in many cases, somebody will just drive the situation to the back of their mind. Another method, another way to deal with frustration is displacement. This is where somebody, for example, has endured a challenging work or a difficult work which frustrates them. They want to get it out of their mind, or to have a feeling that it's something that they are not responsible, or it's not affecting them. In other words, one wants to transfer the effect of frustrating experience to another object or individual. For example, an employee was frustrated at work, and then when they come home, they vent that frustration on a third party or on someone else. Or they get a dog and they kick it, or they hit a wall with their fist, or they direct it to maybe their spouse or their children. So it's a displacement of exactly what's happening to them. So they vent their anger on something else which they're not supposed to. So that is some way helping them to deal with their frustrating situation. Another way of handling frustration, which people have used, is projection. Projection for example, where one this is where one find themselves in a situation where they feel that other people are the way they are. Like if they are feeling jealous, then they feel that everyone else is also jealous. Or if they are feeling annoyed or angry at something, then they feel that even other people are also annoyed and angry at an object. So in other words, the negative qualities that are in a person is that particular individual feels that other people also are like them. So it's more of an insecurity issue. When one has got negative qualities, then now project those negative qualities on someone else. Like they would accuse somebody of, for example, of not liking them or talking negatively of them, while in real sense or reality, that person does not have bad blood or negative attitude towards them. But it is because they have that feeling within them, so they feel that even other people feel the same way about them. So whatever one is feeling, so the frustrating feeling that one has, he tries to project it. He tries to accuse or to believe that even other people have got those same similar feelings that they have. Another way in which people handle frustration is through regression. Regression means somebody would try to reflect back to a time when things were well, when things were going smoothly. So you would refer to, I used to be this way, I used to be that way, things used to be very good during those early days, but so they're trying to reflect back on their past achievements, on their past good performance, on those things that we were able to do well during those early days. So in other words, they try to bring back memories of good days. You've heard about people who are trying to tell you about, I used to be that. Those days when I had this job, when I had money, I used to go to 5-star restaurants, I used to drive a fast car, I used to go on holiday, those kind of things. So you find that they're trying to reflect back on the things they have done, because in their current situation, they are not able to achieve the former heights or the former level of performance. So that gives them a reason not to confront the current challenge, but just to reflect on the previous successes. Another method is called sublimation. Sublimation is whereby when one transforms their conflicting emotions or unmet desires, or impulses into productive outlets. For example, you heard about those people who, instead of venting their anger on people or on something, they would take a run. They would decide to go for a jogging or go for an exercise, or they may decide to take a sports activity, go and play football, go and play hockey. They find something else to vent their frustration on. They feel frustrated, they go do something else. There are those, for example, when they get frustrated, instead of arguing or causing trouble, they find something to do as a way of releasing that energy. And they will do it with all their commitment and dedication to help them handle a situation like that. Another method of handling frustration, or another defense mechanism, is known as rationalization. Rationalization occurs when one tries to explain their bad behavior away. Occurs when one tries to explain their bad behavior away. In other words, they would say that I do this because of the situation that confronts them or that is before them. In other words, they try to justify a particular behavior, or they, like, for example, wanting to blame someone else for their mistakes in life. For example, say, I am this way because my parents gave birth to me in Africa. That's why I'm in this particular situation. Or maybe it is because of my in-laws practices or my relatives practice witchcraft. Or it is because of this and that. So they find a way of blaming the current situation on something else. Now, rationalization tends to be used mostly by those people because of their ego. They don't want to admit their inadequacies in life. So they try to find out ways in which they can be able to handle the situation. Jensera, you have an issue.
No, I don't.
Oh, very good. So those defense mechanisms have been used by as many people as a way of dealing with frustration, trying to handle it so that it has got a minimal effect on a person or on them, on the person who tried to use them. They are like a shield to defend protect someone against the negative or the irrationality or the bad behavior that are associated with frustrating situations. So on the uploaded material, you'll be able to find suggestion by several authors. There are types of defense mechanisms, the mechanisms that have been used to handle frustration. They're right there. You can be able to go through them and read through them so that it gives you understanding. Are we together? There are also those defense mechanisms are there. They've been outlined like it's a summary for. There's a table there with the summary of the defense mechanisms. You can look at them so that gives you more clarity. Now, I think we should be. We have now covered all the topics from the online interaction. We started with. Let me check where we started with. What we had started with. We started with. Good. Where is it? We started with leadership. Is it leadership? Or group development? Did we look at group development and leadership? I think we started with leadership. Or maybe group development. We went all the way to the end and then we again picked from the start. Up to frustration. But in case we have not covered anything, we'll still be able to look at them as we engage. Now you've had the information that universities are not opening until January. But yet there's still no communication regards. I think there are some areas that we have not touched. I think group formation, we'll be able to look at group formation. So I'll upload quizzes here for your trials. And I realized that I did not upload the notes for attitude, but I will upload them. I realized today I didn't upload them, but I will upload for you to refer. And then we'll also touch on group formation, I think, and I'll upload notes on that. I think it's leadership that we had started with, yeah. We can is leadership. So, yeah, it is the leadership that we started with. Yeah, we started with leadership, and so we'll go back to group formation next week, and group formation. So we we look at topic 7. We look at group development. Yeah, at group development. For today, I want to share with us a few past paper questions so that it can orientate us. But still, I will place on the portal, for us to revise. A few questions here and there. Let me put one question. Get the question. There's one question for us to take a look at as we take into consideration a few others on the portal. Is there any question up to that point, Jane Sarah? Let me give you this. How would employees react? Take this. Let's check this question. How do employees react to work-related frustration? What is the employee's reaction to work-related frustration? That is the employee's reaction to work-related frustration. So you can take a look at that question. How would employees react to work-related frustration? This is consequences of frustration. Consequences of frustration. How? How would employees react to work-related frustration? So put your observation there, and you can Jen Sarah,
Yes,
are you still there?
I am.
Caroline is gone.
She's not.
I have your. I realize I didn't give you your cut papers. The ones that we did in January. Was it in January or February?
It was in early Feb, and you didn't return the papers.
Yeah, I discovered that I have them. I had thought that I returned them, but I discovered they were with me. I think just the week I was to return, COVID invaded that. But I think you did very well. You want, yeah, you want to see?
I would like to see mine. That time the cat was challenging because
Yeah, the last one you passed. You
the one for January.
no, the online cut.
Online one.
The online cut.
Pass, like really pass. I had a 65 or 60 something percent.
Yeah. Let me see whether I can take a photo of the front so that
It's okay.
I can project to you. Is it okay projected?
Yeah, it's okay. You can.
Let me try to take a photo. Or let me. Oh, this. The webcam is disabled. It cannot show.
It's okay. No problem.
But I'm taking a photo of the front cover.
Oh, okay.
I mean webcam for sharing.
Sharing the photo.
On the portal, yeah. I think maybe there's something because it's seeing this. I think they disabled it in a way. It's looking for to be allowed. Let me check. Let me try it again. It's asking to be allowed.
So it's possible.
I think it's possible. Let me allow it.
Okay.
Let me just share a photo. And you think that?
Oh, yes, I can see it.
Wow,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah, it was. I'll try to. No, I don't think it can send. There's no provision to attach on the portal, but no, for individual person, there's a provision to attach for everyone. So I can't attach for everyone, but it was quite well done. So I've just taken a photo of part of it, because I'm using
Oh,
the webcam, not the camera for phone, for the laptop. This is a camera for laptop. But you did well. Where did you not score everything?
questions were like tricky. I'm even wondering how I got a 25.
Yeah, they were not hard. They were not difficult. The only thing about them was that you were to make your own question. Like, I still have the paper. Answer all questions, and then you, like question number 1, highlight 5 points about any one of the following concepts. So you choose your concept and highlight. So you find that many people are different answers.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that, because the next question, I think you had, let me check. I've not snapped it well because holding the paper upright is a problem. Where is it now? Oh. We just opened this one. Huh? I didn't open the rest. But that question you had 4 points. 4. You had 4 answers. Huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't see one. Let me share it.
The second question.
The second question. Question number D. Examine any one objective, any one subject of your choice about bureaucracy. Now, from that question, you looked at organization structure. Yeah. So that was just like a point.
Oh.
Yeah. So you just examine.
Right now, because I'm still seeing the first question only.
Okay. Let me see whether it is there. So I've also photoed it, but it's not appearing nicely. But anyway, are you seeing it?
No, I can't. It's the first question I'm seeing.
The first one. Let me try to share it as well. Oh, you didn't photo
No,
it.
I can't see.
You can see it, huh?
Yeah.
Very, very tiny.
I can see.
You can see, eh?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It was how many marks? 4 or 5?
It was supposed to be. It's 5 marks. 5 key issues. Outline 5. It was 5.
Eh?
It was 5 marks.
Oh, 5 marks.
Yes.
5 marks. Just a moment, eh? I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll. Sorry for that. I'll take a picture of that card and post it so that also you can see it. Eh?
It's okay.
Yeah. So why did I give you 4 marks? I'm still wondering.
It's like you never.
I saw only 4.
Point.
Did they see 4 or they are 5?
I have written 5 points. Misunderstanding.
Why did maybe I saw 2 points as 1? Yeah. I think I saw 2 points as 1. Because I'm wondering why did I give you 4?
And I had 5 points.
Yeah.
And none of the point is repeated.
Yeah, I'm still wondering. I think point number 2 and number 3 look like they were one.
They look 1 point.
Yeah, I think that could be the reason.
But I've like numbered them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know how to compensate. Yeah, so the rest of the questions were well done. You did good. You did well. I think you are one of those guys who got the highest. Let me check. Let me see. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. The
No one got 30 out of 30.
no. 30. You know, the thing was it has got its own challenges. You know, maybe many people have not had papers like that where you choose yourself a question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most of them are people choosing for themselves. I think there's only one person who got 27. And then yours, and then several 24s and 23s. Yeah, so you are top, one of the top persons. Yeah, the challenge with it was that people choose a question they wanted to do, like assumption, like social group, social stratification. The only question that had that one was to, but no choice was question number D. But it's still that something to choose. We talk about bureaucracy. You are selected one thing and looked at it. Did we revise it in class? Oh, Jen Sarah is gone. So let me look at a few questions. Did you see that question paper? I want to. Is there any question that you have before we look at some questions related to that topic?
You are currently the only person in this conference. So you did not attempt the quizzes for stress, but I know you will attempt because you have attempted almost every other. I was asking whether you have a question. I was asking whether you had a question. If you have a question, you can. I'll still be updating this, So You are currently the only person in this conference.
Don't attempt it now. I'll still be updating it. So let me create a few questions here and there. So, any question, Caroline? No, sorry, Jennifer.
No, I don't have a question.
Yeah, let me put a few questions for you to check. You can do a short division, or else I'll just have fixed them there on the portal so that you can check later on, right?
Okay.
That would be better. Instead of keeping you on the conference,
It's okay. Actually, I have a question before.
Yeah.
There was this question you posted on topic 11.
Yeah.
It was discussed the ways employees' exceptions have affected human relations in organization.
I posted it in topic 11.
Yes, it was a discussion.
Let me look into it.
Okay.
Yeah, just a moment.
It's okay.
Just a moment. Topic 11.
Yes, it was on discussion.
Discuss the way employees' exceptions
Yes.
have affected human relations. Exceptions. Is this what I wrote?
Yes, is it exception or exemption?
This is in emerging trends.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, it's emerging trends. Yeah. Not employee participation. So since it's
So
emerging.
it's supposed to be discuss the ways employees emerging. What is it supposed to be?
Let me give you the what it is. Yes.
Okay.
Because I think there must have been a misspelling. Yes.
topic 11.
Yes.
It was in emerging trends, not, is it?
Yes.
Emerging
It
trends.
Yeah, it is that topic 11, emerging trends.
Oh yeah. There were topic 11, emerging trends. Yeah, I think.
Yes, so
I think it's supposed to be expectations, not exceptions. I think it's a misspelling.
expectations.
Yeah, because it's expectation. Let me correct it. Let me correct it.
Okay.
I think I wrote it speedily. I didn't even look at it twice.
It's okay.
Expectation. It's supposed to be expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for giving you something irrelevant for all this time. So you are very keen. That's wonderful.
Actually, I was like trying to find out. I couldn't find anything. I was finding another word exam.
Yeah, it's the expectations. Yeah. With all this you write and you don't see any. Yeah, it's supposed to be expectations. Supposed to be expectations. Mhm. Yeah, so it's the way employees' expectations.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I can say is that I'll just upload for topic 6 so that you can be able to look at those questions later on. As right now, I'm still muted. You cannot access it because I want to add more questions.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So thank you for that. That's very good. You are very keen.
Thank you. Welcome.
you are currently the only person in this conference.